Today's video is all about courgettes or zucchini. If you want to get the best out of this delicious vegetable, you need to know how to cook it or even how not to cook it. So in this video, I'll take you through 5 of my favorite recipes which are going to change the way you prepare and cook courgettes. By the end of this video, you'll have at least a couple of recipes that will have you running to the shop to buy some courgettes. Oh, and by the way, my name is George. I've been a chef for 10 years and I post weekly videos to inspire you to cook more vegetables with a flavor-forward approach. So with that in mind, let's get cooking. The first recipe is a creamy roasted courgette and garlic dip, essentially baba ganoush but made with courgettes rather than aubergine. Start by preparing the courgettes. Simply remove the top and the bottom, only taking off a thin slice to avoid any wastage. Then we're going to cut them in half lengthways. We'll then slice a diamond pattern into the flesh of the courgette to allow the seasoning and the heat of the oven in. Get the courgettes onto a baking tray. We're also going to be adding half a bulb of garlic. The other half I'm going to be using in the other courgette recipes. Then generously drizzle over olive oil and season with salt and pepper. I love using a proper pepper grinder as you can adjust how fine you want the pepper. I like it quite rough so you can get nice hot punches of pepper. I'm also turning the garlic bulb over to prevent it from burning. Roast in the oven for about 25 minutes or until golden and soft. The garlic in particular you want really well caramelized. Add your courgettes to a food processor and then we're going to squeeze out the garlic cloves, which will have mellowed in flavour and will be beautifully sweet. Then we're going to add a heaped tablespoon of tahini, the zest and juice of 1 lemon, and some earthy, fragrant cumin. A couple tablespoons of thick vegan yogurt. I'm using an oat-based one here, but soy will work too. Then for the herbs, I'm adding fresh mint and parsley, but you could use dill, chives, or basil. It's totally up to you. Finish with a drizzle of olive oil and some salt and pepper. Then just blend until smooth. I found the mint took a bit longer to blend, so in the future, I'll probably chop it up first or use some dried mint. There is your creamy courgette dip with bags of flavour. To finish, I just sprinkled over a little zaatar, and you can serve this with pita bread, crisps or crudités, and it's also delicious smeared on crusty bread. Oh, that's amazing. This dip is creamy and indulgent, but it's also really light. It whips up nicely, and then you've got the lemon, the herbs, and the yogurt. Really tasty, a great way to use your courgettes. Definitely give this one a go. The next recipe is really simple. It's a quick Asian-style ribbon courgette salad full of punchy, aromatic flavors. Start by removing just the end of the courgette, then lay your courgette down and go to town with your peeler. Peel one side and then rotate and repeat on each side until you get down to just the seeds, and then we're going to stop and you can use that for a soup or a stew. Then I'm going to add some fresh coriander, just finely chopped. Some finely chopped fresh red chili. Chili flakes would also work well, but I like the freshness you get from these. I'm only adding a little bit as my chili tolerance is pretty low, but you can add as much as you like. Then I've got this mega spring onion. The green part I'll just slice into thin rounds, and then the bulb I'll treat like a regular onion and just finely chop. Next, some toasted sesame seeds. You can buy these pre-toasted, or as I did, I toasted them in a dry pan. Then a splash of light soy sauce for that umami goodness. A good glug of rice vinegar, lime juice would also work, and a touch of sesame oil, since that's literally all I've got. Season with pepper but no salt as we've got the soy sauce in there, and then we're just going to give everything a good mix to get it all nice and coated. This is a delicious snack, or served with something like a spring roll or some hoisin mushrooms would be delicious. It's fresh, vibrant and full of flavour. You could do this with other vegetables such as finely shredded cabbage, grated carrot, or even beetroot would be delicious. Wow, that really packs a punch. It's zingy, it's fresh, you get a nice bit of heat from the chili, and then a lovely toasted nuttiness from those sesame seeds. Really tasty. For our third dish, showcasing the courgette, we're going to be grilling and marinating them. I'm using a yellow and a green one just for some extra colour. Simply top and tail and then slice lengthways. About ½ centimetre is good. You don't want them so thin that they fall apart when grilling, but you also don't want great big wedges of courgette. Get them into a dish and drizzle with some olive oil, and then season with salt and pepper. You can be fairly generous as a lot will come off onto the griddle. Preheat the griddle without any oil unless you want the smoke alarm to go off, and then once hot, lay in your courgettes. After about 2 to 3 minutes, you should have some pretty good grill marks. If not, just turn up the heat. To be honest, I could have had it a little bit hotter, but we don't have an extractor fan at the moment, so I didn't want to smoke up the house. It's quite nice to then turn the courgettes diagonally so you get a really nice sort of diamond pattern on the courgette. Now for the marinade, I'm combining good quality extra virgin olive oil with red wine vinegar. You could also use lemon juice or another vinegar if you like, and then we're going to grate in a little garlic. Optionally, you can add some finely sliced chili. Then bunch up some basil and roll into a little cigar, and finely slice, or chiffonade is the French term for these little strips of herbs. A little dried oregano and then season with salt and pepper and give the jar a good shake to combine all the delicious flavours. Then just add in your courgette. If they're thin enough, they should sort of fold into the jar. I'm also going to be adding a few quartered cherry tomatoes for some extra bursts of sweet freshness. And then once again, shake so that everything is coated in the marinade. Ideally then leave this jar in the fridge overnight, or eat straight away, it'll still taste incredible. I'm serving mine on some toasted focaccia, and I'm going to make use of that courgette dip we made earlier. Be sure to drizzle on some of that leftover marinade, and that is a really tasty snack or lunch. So delicious, ridiculously good. And if you're thinking, is it worth my time grilling the courgettes? It 100% is. Definitely give it a try. This next courgette dish shows off one of the best ways of cooking courgettes, and that is slowly. This is linguine in a slow roasted courgette sauce with a crispy breadcrumb topping. To prepare the courgettes, we're going to cut them in half and then just into sort of random large chunks. Don't have to be very precise here. Get yourself a large oven-proof dish and add in your courgette. We're then going to add in the leftover garlic from the courgette dip. You can use anywhere from 3 to 12 cloves of garlic, as they're going to go beautifully soft and sweet when they're slow roasted. Then add chili for a little bit of warmth in the sauce, and a few sprigs of rosemary or thyme. They pair beautifully with the chili and the garlic. Then a few good glugs of olive oil. I like to use quite a lot here to almost confit the vegetables, and it adds lots of fruity, peppery flavour to the final sauce. Then just season with salt and pepper, pop the lid on, and we're going to roast it for around 40 minutes at 200 degrees. While that's cooking, we're going to make a quick cashew cream to mix in once it's done. This is simply cashews with lemon juice, water, and a little seasoning. Then just blend until smooth. If your blender isn't a high-powered one, you'll need to pre-soak the cashews in boiling water or cold water for a few hours. We're also going to make a quick topping to give the pasta dish some extra texture. I'm toasting panko breadcrumbs, which are super crispy, in some olive oil just until they're golden brown, and then just leave them to cool. To the breadcrumbs, we're going to finely chop some fresh basil or another herb of your choice. And we're also going to add the zest of 1 lemon. No juice though, unless you want soggy breadcrumbs. The courgettes are now beautifully soft and caramelised. Grab a fork and we're just going to crush them to create a delicious sauce. I'm going to crush about half of them, leaving the other half whole for a little bit of texture. And then we're going to add in the cashew cream and just mix it through. You could also make this dish without the cashew cream for a lighter pasta sauce, but it won't sort of cling onto the pasta quite as well. I find creamy sauces like this can take a lot of black pepper, so definitely be generous with it while seasoning this dish. We'll then cook some spaghetti, linguine or tagliatelle as per the packet instructions. I like to cook it slightly more on the al dente side, as it will continue cooking a little bit in the pasta sauce. It's also a good idea to keep back some of the pasta water, which you can lose to loosen up the sauce if it's too thick for your liking. Dollop in your pasta and then just mix it through. Then for a final touch, sprinkle over some of that crunchy breadcrumb mix for a zesty and herby finish, and then you can serve. This is definitely one to cook on a lazy weekend night. Really simple, as you just let the oven do the work while you relax. I also like to serve a little bit of lemon on the side to help cut through the rich creamy sauce.
Oh yes, this is gonna be good. Yeah. Oh, the courgettes go so soft. Put a little lemon juice on there. Although it's creamy and indulgent, you do get really nice bits of crispiness from the breadcrumbs, and then the lemon juice really helps cut through and freshen things up. Really delicious.
For the final recipe, I'm at my girlfriend's house, so please excuse the poor lighting. I am working on it. But these are crunchy baked courgette chips. Start by cutting your courgettes into batons. I'm down to 1 courgette now, as I've literally cooked about 10 courgettes in one day. And of course, just quickly stop to check on the cat. This is Mitzi, by the way. She usually looks a lot eviler, but today she's being pretty cute. For the batter to help the breadcrumbs stick to the courgette, we're just going to mix some plain flour with some plant-based milk and whisk into a sort of thick crepe-like batter. Should just coat a spoon, but not be too thick. And then for the breadcrumbs, I'm using some panko breadcrumbs, which are my favourite type. They're really crispy. Then I'm going to add nutritional yeast, best to rub it between your fingers into a finer powder. Then some smoked paprika, dried herbs of your choice. I've got oregano and basil. And then just season with salt and pepper. Mix thoroughly with your hands or a spoon, it's up to you. We're now ready to pané the courgettes, which essentially means bread them. And this is the production line, starting with courgette, then batter, and lastly the breadcrumbs. I always keep my left hand for the wet and then my right hand for the dry. This is just going to help prevent you from getting really messy. And then just make sure to drain off the batter from your courgette before then dipping it into the breadcrumbs. Then just gently roll the courgette through the breadcrumbs. Don't be too aggressive here or they will just fall straight off. Drizzle over a little olive oil and bake for around 20 minutes at 200 degrees until golden and crispy. You may also want to turn them halfway through, just get a nice even crisping. And you can also air fry them, just reduce the heat by about 20 degrees. And you'll probably need to cook them for maybe 5 minutes less. And there you have delicious baked crunchy courgette chips for a slightly healthier chip alternative. Delicious dipped in hummus or chili jam.
Definitely got the crisp factor.
Thank you so much for watching. For another similar video where I've got some delicious tomato-based recipes, check out this video.